Right. Well, you know, that bothers me. And I'm not a John Bolton fan. I mean, I'm going to be clear. I've met John. I've talked to him a few times. I've interviewed him a couple of times. I'm not necessarily a John Bolton fan, but I'm not. I don't dislike the guy either. I think that he brings a level of intellect. He brings a level of insight to government that a lot of people don't. Um, Now, the president himself has said if he really wanted to end the war in Afghanistan, he'd kill 12 million people. The bottom line here is, Frank, I don't think we should be fighting other people's wars. And they can make the excuse, well, if we don't fight them over here, we'll fight them. No, bullshit. If we're going to fight any war anywhere in the world, we need to go in and fight to win and get out, like we did Desert Storm. Desert Storm could have turned into a Bush say, I'm going to do. I'm going to let my generals execute this war, and we're going to go in and do what we're going to do. We have set objectives, and we're leaving. We're not going to sit here and make GE rich. We're not going to sit here and make Microsoft and all these other computer companies and munition companies and food companies rich. We're not going to prop up the American economy with this fake war because our children, our sons and daughters who are in colleges, what did John Kerry say? Well, you better get some grades or you'll end up in Iraq. you know, I mean, these people say what they mean and mean what they say, and we just kind of blow it off and take it for granted. But they're serious as a heart attack. Their kids aren't going to Afghanistan. Their kids aren't going to Iraq. So they don't really care. Can you hear me, Frank? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Right. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, and we come back again, Frank, to the same old, and that is, people don't have any skin in the game. We let people make decisions. We let these people tell us what we need to do, but they don't have any skin in the game. Their children aren't in the armed services. They haven't been in the armed services. They try to tell us that we need to have transgendered people serving the country. We need to have homosexuals serving beside straight people so that the homosexuals don't feel bad about themselves. I mean, who cares? I mean, we're talking about war here, and these people are talking about social experimentation. Well, I'm just so, in my opinion, I am just so put off, and put out by what we see happening in the country, what we see happening around the world. We cannot justify sending our children, sending our young men and women into harm's way when everybody's not going into harm's way. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, but I still think it comes down to the reality of if you're going to fight a war, you just do what you have to do to win the war and get out and go home. And we're not doing that. We didn't do that in Vietnam. We didn't do that in Afghanistan. And I think it's a mistake. You used a very good analogy of what we did in the Desert Storm War. We used overwhelming force. We did what we had to do. And that was that. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah, that shock and awe was really shock and awe. They were not playing around, and they made the Taliban pay. They made everyone pay, and that's why I'm just so appalled that the president would meeting with the Taliban, not have the Afghan government at the table. I mean, why doesn't he just meet with ISIS or Boko Haram or some of those people?
Yeah, I mean, the logic is there. You're absolutely right. Look, we have to make a decision. We've been in Afghanistan for over a decade. 2001 was 18 years ago. We really need to end this one way or the other. I fear, though, that if we don't take care of business, we're going to have to face another 9/11 at some point.
Well, the only reason 9/11 happened, Frank, let's face it, there were so many breakdowns in everything. I mean, you had 12 Arabs who bought tickets on one credit card. I remember trying to buy 3 tickets on one American Express credit card here in Chicago. 3 tickets for myself, my stepdaughter, and me. And they called 3 supervisors to see if it was really our credit card. You had 12 Arabs buy tickets on one credit card. 1. 2. The reality is when a plane loses communication, it doesn't turn around and come back to the airport it took off from. Losing communication with an airline or with a plane is no big deal. I'm a professional pilot, had a commercial pilot's license since '79. And the rules are you continue your flight as planned. And if you get to your destination early, you go into holding, you get to your destination late, you shoot your approach. That is standard operating procedure. So for a plane to leave Boston, headed to LA, turn and come to New York, they should have sent up all kind of flags, and it didn't, because people are lazy. People are not paying attention. People, I've noticed in my lifetime, and I think it's because of the integration of women into the workforce, that people, when I was coming along, you couldn't make mistakes like that. You had to play by the rules. But today, they change the rules all the time because women refuse to comply with the rules. Well, why do we have to have this rule? It doesn't make any sense for me to have this rule. You don't question the rule. The rule is the rule until the rule gets changed. But we have too many wimpy ass men who refuse to hold these women, just like driving on the streets. How many tickets when you talk to a police officer, and I question them all the time. How many women do you let go that make a right-hand turn or that cross lanes without turn signals? And they look all sheepish. But you and me, Frank, they'll issue us a ticket because we're guys. I'm serious, and I'm tired. And I'm tired of it. I'm writing about it in my book because we have this. In the American culture, we have this two-tiered. We'll just forget that women don't do XYZ because they're women. And it could be my sister, it could be my mother. Well, black women don't get that kind of treatment because they're not their sister, their mother. So that's why you had this black woman drug out of her car. You have black women all the time being treated like animals, being dragged out of their cars, beaten. I mean, this summer I read about three of those incidents, and last year a woman was killed being pulled from her car by some cop over a traffic stop because she wouldn't put out a cigarette. I mean, it's ridiculous. But here again, getting back to the point I make is too many people do not follow the rules. There was no reason that those planes should not have been scrambled from that Air Force base to come and intercept that airliner from the get go.
Let's go even before that occurred. During the period when when the 12 guys who were involved in this were training in Florida, they signed up and they said that they wanted to learn how to fly these airliners, but they didn't need to take lessons on how to land them. The instructor did the right thing. He called up the FBI and he told them exactly what had happened. The FBI agents in the field did everything they could to push the issue. The higher echelons of the FBI ignored it. The same FBI that eventually engaged in political shenanigans when they tried to undo the results of the 2016 election and promoted the false charge of Russian collusion against the Trump administration.
Right.
Clearly, we have a problem with the upper echelons of the FBI. The field agents are great guys. They do their job and they're professional. But clearly there is a problem with the upper echelons of the FBI. They were extremely negligent in this whole matter. I don't think anyone's head has ever rolled because of it. Maybe that's something that should be revisited.
Well, Frank, a lot of those people are retired. You have to remember, this is what, the 18th anniversary of 9/11.
18th, that's correct.
Yeah, 18th anniversary of 9/11. So a lot of these people are probably retired that we're talking about because they were already toward the end of retirement. So,
realistically, though, there's still going to be people who are the proteges of those folks. I think we have to admit there's some kind of cancer with the upper echelons of both the FBI and the CIA, and I think something has to be done about it. The whole collusion story was a clear example of what's wrong with the intelligence services. We had creepy John Brennan, the former head of the CIA, deeply involved in this. This is a real problem that has to be addressed.
Yeah, but Frank, it's not, and it's not only Democrats or Republicans; it's all of them. They're in it together. I mean, it's not like it's either or. It's the whole system is corrupt. I tell you who needs to be careful about talking about this stuff. It's that Marianne Williamson who's running for president. She's going around saying that the government is far more corrupt and the system is far more corrupt than she believed. So if she's not careful,
Now,
Frank, she may end up at the bottom of the Hudson River or something. But like Vince Carter,
well, we'll see where that goes. Although I don't think her candidacy is actually going anyplace, but that's a different story.
it is a different story, but she's there and she's being heard, and they had her on Fox even yesterday. So I thought that was interesting. But look, man, I tell you, we wake up, and who would have thought John Bolton would be gone? John Bolton gave a briefing to the principals this morning about Venezuela, and he's gone. Boom, gone.
Well, again, President Trump is not an easy guy to work for, and I think this Taliban issue is perhaps one of the ones that proved the most excruciating for many of the people around the president. Clearly, the president identified the angst of the American people. They want to get out of Afghanistan after 18 years, but on the other hand, there's no easy solution to it. I do hope, though, that his motive was exposing the Taliban as being a group that with, and that after this example of them not being able to come to the table, he will take the steps necessary to really wipe them out. And in this era, you're not supposed to say things like wipe a group out, but that really has to be done.
Wipe them out? How, Frank? What do you mean wipe them out?
as I said in the beginning, I think that we have to use air power. We have to realize there are going to be civilian casualties.
Hmm.
This is a war, just like World War II. And I think that the Taliban, which has managed to survive by hiding among the civilian population, I think
Hmm.
we have to go in and do what we have to do.
Oh, okay, so Frank,
We've tried limited measures for 18 years. They haven't worked. It's time to try something different.
I know you got to go, but real quick, what about this story that CNN put out about the Russian spy being exfiltrated because they were afraid that Trump was going to expose. I mean, these people just lie. They endanger people's lives. It's crazy.
You know, one of the reasons that shows like yours are on the air is because we do the things that the mainstream media has refused to do over the past decade or so. And frankly, I think more Americans have to start paying attention to the details of some of these stories rather than simply watching MSNBC or CNN and letting it go at that.
But I mean, how do you feel about that? What do you think about that?
About which
About that story they put out, Frank?
I have to look at it in more detail. I really haven't
You
researched
haven't
it
read?
well
Okay.
enough to.
So you haven't followed CNN saying that a Russian spy was exfiltrated because they felt that Donald Trump would expose the spy because of his careless handling of intelligence information?
They are so desperate to keep doing this Russian collusion stuff that they keep coming up with one ludicrous story after the other. I haven't seen this one in particular, but I'm going to make a wild guess here and saying it's part of the same nonsense as what they were doing with the Russian collusion story in the first place.
Hey, well, look, man, I want to thank you for coming on. I know you have another interview after me every Tuesday, so thank you again, Frank.
I do, but I look forward to our next conversation.
Okay, man, appreciate you.
Take care.
Okay, you too, Mr. Frank Benucio. Um, yeah, folks, if you want to call in, you can call us at 215 867 8255. Tell you, man, it's crazy. But Trump, I want to talk a little bit about before we get off this topic. Want to run with the lie that CNN's telling on the president that 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 the intelligence folks were so uh, um, um, scared that Donald Trump would expose the Russian spies that were colluding with and sharing information with us to the Russians. I mean, they're trying to paint the picture. Now, wrap your mind around this. They're trying to paint the picture that the president of the United States or the president elect of the United States is somehow in collusion with the Russians. Now, let's go back and look at Barack Obama, for instance. Barack Obama had let me repeat, known affiliations with Muslims. And I'm not talking about the Nation of Islam Muslims like the Louis Farrakhan. I'm talking about real Muslims. Um, so, Barack Obama constantly, contact with subversives, Bill Ayers, Al Sharpton. I call Al a subversive. That's what he is. He's a subversive. He's not about the people. He's not about America. He's about Al. So we have all these things on Obama, and some guys who I know in Secret Service were saying to me, if Obama were not a sitting senator, U.S. senator, or the U.S. president, he could not pass a security background check. Now, I don't know this because, I don't know what the details are for a security background check. I'm just relaying what some people said to me. And I go, okay, because I don't know. I don't know. I'm just listening to them. But I tell you, what I do know about Obama is that if we at any time had any reason to suspect a president was colluding with Russians or anyone else, it was Barack Obama when he said to Medvedev, he said, "Tell Vlad that I could be more flexible um, once the election's over." And the media kind of, oh, it's just an open mic gaffe. No, what did he say in that open mic gaffe? That's what's important. They tried to not try to overlook it. They did overlook it totally. Obama says, "Hey, tell Vlad I can be more flexible once the election's over." No one asked him for that. He reached over and said that to Medvedev. Medvedev didn't say, "Hey, Mr. President, can you be more flexible? You think you'd be more flexible with us once the election's over?" No. The president initiated that conversation. Oh man. And the media looked the other way. If Trump had said something like that, it would be, oh my God, it's the scandal. It's horrible. He's colluding with the Russians. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Now, it's amazing. The presidential candidates are back at it again. And Joe Biden had something to say that I thought was just hilarious. He said, "Only in the most exigent circumstances would I use force without extensive consultation with Congress." Really? He's lying. That's what they all say until they get in to office. And it's like, to hell with Congress. This is what I want to do. To hell with Congress. This is what I want to do. Congress gets in my way. That's what Barack Obama said. The Constitution got in his way. I used to have a clip where the president was making a statement that we're not taking its course because they didn't want to spend $40,000 to be taught anti law, these ideas. Barack thought he was cultivating his own followers, his own cult, and he was. But hey, not for long. It's amazing. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, everything I'm telling you can go out there and Google. It's not like it's rocket scientist stuff here. But I'm looking at the presidential hopefuls, and I'm looking at them talking about how the powers of the president need to be reined in after down. And they broadly agree that Trump has shaken the presidency loose from its constitutional limits. If Barack Obama did not shake the presidency loose from its constitutional limits, I don't know who did. Here's a man who single-handedly destroyed an eighth of the U.S. economy, just destroyed it with a lie. Lies. Nobody called him on it because he's black. Here's a man who created a fake immigration status called DACA, Deferred Action Child. These aren't children. These people, the average age of a DACA person, I think, is 25 to 30 years old. Some people say 25 to 30, 35. I don't know. I'm just saying. But these people are claiming that these presidential candidates that They have to roll back the powers of the presidency. Well, that's already in the Constitution. So nothing's going to be done on that front. Let's be clear. No one's going to change the Constitution in the Constitution, especially behind these birds that we have running, i.e., Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and the rest. They're a joke. Elizabeth Warren says, well, the American people should fully know how candidates will use the power of the presidency. She also wrote, echoing other candidates who agree that voters should know their views before deciding whom to entrust with the power of the White House. Presidents have a responsibility to make sure excess power is not used to start endless wars, attack privacy of Americans, or undermine democratic values of our country. She wants to do all those things. She wants to keep the endless wars going. She wants to do away with borders. She wants to attack the privacy of American citizens, i.e., find out who has guns, who doesn't, what schools we go to, how we brush our teeth. I mean, these people, these Democrats are insidiously evasive into our lives, what we believe in, what we don't believe in. And it threatens them to death that we don't believe what they believe in terms of immigration, in terms of sexual orientation, in terms of biblical references. These people, well, I just, why would you believe God? Why would you have God in your life? I mean, for someone to ask me a question like that says something about them to begin with. And certainly I'm not going to answer that question for someone who doesn't know why we have God in our lives. I can tell you, man, looking back to these 2020 candidates, they are a interesting group. But I'm glad I don't have to decide on that. And I'm on the other side of the aisle, so I don't have to put up with that nonsense. But the nonsense we are trying to put up with out here, and that the CIA is trying to refute, is that somehow President Trump was going to mishandle intelligence information and expose a that the CIA has come up with, is the fact that the media has identified these people and put their life and their family's life in danger. Now, you would think that CNN would feel bad. No, they're trying to take it further. They're trying to dig further and identify who, going to these people's homes. What do you think the Russians are doing? They're laying back going, just follow the news trucks. Follow the news trucks, dude. They'll take us right where we need to be so we can shoot this dude through the glass. They play a very dangerous game. This is not Born Identity. This is not 007. This is life. This is serious. People are going to die because of these people at CNN who are pursuing the story, this false story at that. Amazing. I tell you, it's amazing. So I'm John Bolton. Bolton Pompano relationship was the worst ever. I don't know. I'm not going to do that. But feel good story. And I saw this the other day, and I'm glad that this took off. Young man was too poor to buy University of Tennessee t-shirt, so he made his own. Put a big U, big T on it, custom made, pinned it to his shirt. UT. He's so proud. Got to school, people were bullying him. Someone at UT heard about it. They made up a shirt that looked just like it with 16,000 shirts sold. I hope this young boy gets at least 50 cents off of each shirt since they copied his design. But they had 16,000 shirts because of his design and being bullied. Man, I tell you. They a lot of stories out today. Sarah Palin's husband supposedly files for divorce. That's supposed to be a verified story. I heard about that yesterday. And I, you know, thought about it. I, kind of kicked it around and did some research. And yeah, he filed. He filed. They've been under a lot of pressure for a very long time. And he probably needs a break. She does too. They love each other, just need a break from each other. First dude, though, he's an interesting guy. I know a lot of women gonna be running after him. Billy Bush finally got a job. He's back hosting Extra 3 after being gone for 3 years. Wow. This whole issue in the Bahamas of people dying. First, the report out of there was 22 dead. Now it's up to 45. Some people say it's 3,000 folks dead down there. I didn't know they had that many people on the island. But it will be interesting to get the skinny. But people are trying to flee the island and get to the U.S. And Trump saying, hey, we're not letting bad people in here. If you have a criminal record, don't think you're going to get on a plane and head to off. Not going to happen. Here in Chicago, we have a 90-degree day, believe it or not. 90 degrees. Whew, boy. One day is 65, the next day, serious change is going on, without much warning, just boom, it's there, right? I hope Kevin's doing well, hoping very well. And so Kevin's recovery from his auto accident, which left him with back injuries, he said, I actually referred to him as my son, joking about Hart's smaller size. I connected with him today. He said, and you know what? These things happen in life. And thankfully, he was strapped in nicely to his car seat. Yeah, it was. Wow. Hart was one of 3 people involved in a recent crash in Calabasas, according to the CHP. Amazing. You can't make this stuff up. And he was in an old car too. He wasn't in a new car. He was in a 1970 Plymouth Barracuda. And he lost control of the vehicle and went off the road and rolled down an embankment. Ooh, man. See, that's when people start getting ejected and all that kind of stuff. Wow. Amazing. My man. Hold on. Shoot. Yeah. But it was a good movie. I think it was Central Intelligence. Yeah, it was a good movie. It's a funny movie. Funny. The president, though, is, speaking of fun, taking some time out meeting with HBCU presidents during HBCU week. What people don't know is Historically Black Colleges and Universities Week was created by Ronald Reagan, carried out by George Herbert Walker Bush, denigrated and defunded by Bill Clinton, propped up again by George W. Bush, and I was part of that with J.C. Watts. Then it was again pushed to the back burner by Barack Insane Obama, and now Republican administration is pulling it to the forefront again, historically black colleges and universities. And I would say, go out and check out the president. He's supposed to be out there live. Maybe we can pull him up here and try to pull him up live for a live feed here. See what he's talking about as he gives remarks to the HBCU folks. Let's see. It's coming. Nope, I guess not. Well, it's still loading, I guess. But I can tell you that under Republican presidents, historically black colleges and universities have always fared better than under their Democratic counterparts. The reason I can say that is because I belong to a group, and we did well. We made sure that these schools got funding, and Dennis Hastert and Dennis Hastert's and God, I'm looking at his face.
Big thing, such a problem for our country, and such a problem.
Here we go. Come on. It's supposed to be live. Uh-oh.
Countries all over the world, it's a tremendous problem. The drug problem.
I'm just going to cut that off. We can't pull it in. It's a live feed. My system is just really dirt slow. It's horrible. It's 1 o'clock. This thing always slows down to 1 o'clock. I hate it. And they had a tech out here today trying to work on this, and we still have the same problem. So, what can you do? All you can do is try to make it better. But it gets old, I tell you that. Trump. So, what I'm going to do is to finish up with John Bolton, and my comments on Bolton are simply that John Bolton's been a firebrand. John Bolton has been a staunch.
My administration has also launched an unprecedented campaign to spur investment and revitalization in our country's most underserved communities.
I'm gonna cut. Like I said, I'm gonna cut that off. I don't want to hear that because I can't pull it all up together. It's going to buffer out. So but John has been a respected member of the National Security Council, both under George Walker Bush, like him, I hope. And I know that John will bounce back and be on his feet. There's no question, no doubt about that. Now the fallout becomes John Bolton says he left of his own accord. President said, no, he didn't. Well, I'm tempted to side with Bolton on this. Like I said, I'm no John Bolton fan by any means. But Bolton said he gave the president his resignation last night. The president said, we'll talk about it tomorrow. And we woke up and the president had, made his decision to can Bolton, but he didn't tell him before he led a meeting this morning of what they call principals. It's where they do a national security briefing. And he led that briefing. So, boy, who knows? Only the nose knows. Only John Bolton and the president truly know what happened. So we'll see. We'll see where John ends up. But You say he disagreed with the president on a wide range of issues. Well, I can understand that. The president has his own way of doing things, wants things done a certain way. And, you know, John has been around for a while. He's seen a few things. He's not going down that path. So I hope the president replaces him with someone as capable as John, because John's been a real mover and shaker and a real friend to America, to Americana. Um, we're going to um, yeah, that's about it. I mean, that's what everyone's talking about. John Bolton getting fired. The 43 right now, we're going to transition out of here. And I want to do some more research on John Bolton's leaving, as well as John Bolton's resignation, and when and where he chose to resign. It's amazing. And then I also want to catch up with President Trump and what he's doing with HBCUs, because it's near and dear to my heart, always has been, always will be. You know, ta-da. Independent voters. But the CIA put out a horrible, just horrible story. And CNN put out a horrible story on CIA. CIA denies that Russian spy, those things were already in play before Barack Obama left office. But they lie. They lie. And then they lie again. And all the time we're supposed to go along with the lies. Guess what, folks? People just aren't into it. I know I'm not. So look, we're going to sign off. We'll be back again tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have these issues worked out with the system. And we'll be marching right along. Thanks again.